Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It's markets in the morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Monday, August 14th, 2023. It's Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action at the cryptocurrency market, Bitcoin price chart, altcoin market, XRP price chart. Take a look over there at the stock market. Take a look at precious metals. And today, we have a big move over there in the United States dollar, or the DXY. So we'll peek over there at that as well. And of course, we'll take a look at any type of news that is going on out there that may be of any significant importance. I went ahead and cruised the news wire this morning. I didn't see anything too huge out there that screamed at me. Of course, I was browsed Twitter. Twitter's a pretty good place. X.com to see if there was anything. I didn't see anything screaming across the feed this morning that was big news related. But let's go ahead and dive into the markets and see how we're doing. Relatively boring price action throughout the weekend, which is good, right? Enjoy your weekend and not have to worry about insane price volatility, which sometimes does happen, can ruin the weekend or make the weekend exciting. But it was pretty tame out there. Bitcoin currently sits right now at $29,306. Not a whole lot of a change happening in here. We've now been in this area for 3 weeks here for Bitcoin. Pretty tame in here, waiting for a direction to show up and emerge here. So really just the same old, same old. I have been working on a video this morning. We're taking a bigger look out. We're going to take a bigger macro look out at Bitcoin dominance, all that kind of stuff. And I'm pretty excited about releasing this video. I've been working on it all morning, actually. We'll probably have markets in the morning be pretty brief just because there's not a whole lot of a change happening out here. So I can get back to that. So make sure you do catch today's video. It's very data heavy. And I think probably one of the most educational videos I put out in quite some time. So make sure you catch that one that I put out today. Of course, we'll be talking about altcoins, XRP, how it all relates to it, Bitcoin, the whole thing. But all right, Bitcoin, you're sitting at $29,200 as the stock market does open right now. We can see that the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 11 points at the opening. So it was down a little bit in pre-market, slightly up here at the opening. How are stocks doing? Pretty mixed in here. You got Tesla as the loser this morning, down 3.5%. You got United Health and Amazon up there at the top. And really just kind of slight red really on everything else in there. Big move down in metals this morning, but let's go ahead and stick to crypto here for just a second. So we could see there's a lot of green over here on the market. I don't like it when TradingView does this, but today is one of those days where it's doing it. Look at others up 23%. That's not correct. Look at total 3 up 5%. That is not correct. Total 2 is up 3%. That is not correct. Those are the altcoin market caps. Those are incorrect this morning, but you do have a leader there today. At least you do have Hedera hash graph. You have HBAR sitting up there up 15% today. Otherwise, pretty tame day in the market this morning. XRP sitting at 62.73 or 62.73 cents right now. It has still held that whole level from last week. So after the kind of dramatic move back down to the breakout level, it's still just been kind of tamely sitting there waiting to pick a direction in here right now. This does look like a standard crashing structure to me. The question is there that final like 7th wave to come in here to hit one time and then go off and move? I announced over there over the weekend that I have started rotating some of my Bitcoin over here into XRP. I'd mentioned to you guys over the last 2 weeks that I would be doing that. And when I release my video later today, you'll understand why on that as well. Of course, we're back down at that 200-week moving average. We're sitting slightly on top of it still. It's about 4.5% to 5% down. So to go down and legitimately hit it, it would actually still be another 4 or 5% drop here for XRP versus Bitcoin. The issue with that, and like, well, why am I not waiting for it if I think that that's where we're heading to? It's just because we haven't really actually hit it perfectly, right? There's some times where we get really close to it. It's definitely the resistance area in here, but it didn't actually pinpoint hit it. And I have to take that into consideration to say, hey, is it legitimately respecting it and touching it perfectly every time? Not really. So I'm kind of just being real cautious here and doing it really slowly of starting to rotate some of my Bitcoin over here into XRP. When I release today's video as well, you have a better understanding of why my bias is that the safety trade for Bitcoin, stable coins, Ethereum, all that stuff. I think we're nearing the end of it if it isn't already over at this point right now. And that, of course, would be data backed up by data, and you'll get to see why that all is. But either way, yep, XRP, we're sitting here. Where are you? I had you. Oh, that's because I used the same screen. Okay. And then it's of course coming back down to the base level of where we've been at here. I'm looking for the last, couple of months on whether or not we'd get back down there. Sure enough, we have. There we go. So hopefully off and away is the story of XRP in the future. Again, now looking over here at the stock market as it's starting to open, a little bit of an improvement. So NASDAQ was down quite a bit. Now it's down only 0.24%. Now the S&P is only down 0.15%, and the Dow Jones is up 0.18%. A little bit of shift here now that the market has opened. Tesla's still the loser, but not as bad. Now you have United Health, Apple, and Caterpillar up here at the top now that the market is actually open. As for precious metals, seeing, you know what? Okay, we'll talk about this and I'll do my standard stuff. Precious metals, the gold falling down this morning. We see that over there on silver too. Silver down to 22.48. That's a pretty decent little fall happening in here for silver. There you go. Still moving down. So what is that on the heels of? That is on the heel of the dollar rising big time. So you can see dollars having a little bit of a breakout here in the last 2 hours. The question is, of course, how high is this going to go? If we get all the way back up to 105, 106, my thoughts will become biased to belief that the dollar has bottomed all year long. We were looking for 99 to 100 to eventually come in. We held the support in February. It took us all the way until July for it to actually happen. The day after the break, what happens? Lawsuit comes to a completion over there. With the SEC and Ripple, or at least summary judgment comes out stating that XRP is not a security right there on the 13th, right? We get the break happening at the same time. You live in a simulation if you don't know that. or God has just predetermined our fate. That's probably the most likely thing. But now, after hitting that 99 to 100, we've seen a bounce in here. So now if, there's still a chance, we find some resistances in here and this thing rolls over. But if we do get up to 105, then structure will start becoming more clear to me, and I'll start thinking, hey, we have bottomed. There's probably an ABC coming in here, but the big trend is that this is a reversal happening over here on the dollar. I highly doubt we're just going to go shooting straight back up. Typically in these types of things, that's usually the next phase that would happen. It would be about watching crypto and how it behaves in a moment like that, if that's the case. Still, we have the first resistance. We haven't broken even through the first one yet. But if we get through that one, and especially if we get through the next one, there we go. That's probably the case. But still waiting for it to play out. I'm not going to put a prediction on the DXY yet. My prediction on the DXY all of 2023 was to get to 99 to 100, that there would likely be supports there. There obviously have been. Now just to see how much strength is there really going to be in this thing in here. And then we'll make... I'll make an analysis or a speculative guess on what comes next. But right now, I'm not really willing to. I think it could reject from here, and there's a bigger trend down. Or if it gets up here, then my thoughts will be that it has bottomed, but that we would ABC afterwards. So still waiting on that. But that's a big move happening over there in markets this morning as we start off the week, as the dollar is up 0.5%. And we're seeing that reflected over there in gold, which is down to 1904. And we're seeing that over there in silver, which is down to 2244. So bigger moves over there. However, crypto is holding up relatively well during all of this. And again, if you're just tuning in and you're looking at your TradingView and you're seeing that the altcoin market caps are surging, like others is up 23%, total 3 is up 5.3%, and total 2 is up 3.2%. Those are incorrect. That is something going on with TradingView this morning. Just ignore it. And what it usually means, if it doesn't correct itself out today, then likely tomorrow we're going to see all of these with big negatives. It won't impact the prices of the market, just that these will get themselves corrected, and tomorrow we'll see those all the way down here at the bottom, negative 20% for others, negative 7% for total 2. But they don't really have any meaning. There's some type of API issue happening here, specifically with TradingView. That we shouldn't have to spend much time focusing on that, but you know how this community works. Any type of thing, becomes conspiracies. You know? I think the craziest one right now, of course, you know, and it's just because it gets views, right? It gets views. The Gemini listing happened. You know, when a listing happens, there's an illiquid order book. You know, there could be more demand than there is supply when a new listing happens on an exchange. So you saw in the first minute, let's see if we can find it. Gemini. There you go. In the first minute, I'll put it on the 5-minute chart so we can see it. In the listing of Gemini, right? What do you see? You see this, right? So there's no liquidity in the order book yet, and somebody market buys it, and this happens, right? So this is due to an illiquid brand new market book, and you know what's happening. So, yeah. I hope we can understand what this is as adults, that this is an illiquid order book. This is not a conspiracy. It's an illiquid order book. So don't get your hopes up too high on what this is. If you need, follow me if you want to have honest takes on what this is. This is a new crypto listed on a new exchange with a illiquid order book, and that's why it hit $50. There's no liquidity in the order book. Somebody bought it, and somebody was silly enough to pay. And you see this happen all the time, especially in places like Bitrue, right? Throughout history, how many times have you seen that where assets? I think one thing was Flare. I think Flare went as high as $6 one time. Somebody bought it for $6 because the IOU. Because there was a massive market order. And that's what happens. If you don't set limit orders, this kind of stuff can happen to you on illiquid assets. So, yeah, always know that. Anyway, let's go back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, all right, 29,331 as the day gets started. There you have it. This has been incredibly exciting price action for Bitcoin over the course of the last 3 weeks, and it's still just a wait happening in here. But I think looking over at broader markets, the bigger thing, there you go. The Dow flips red now as the NASDAQ flips green. How about that? NASDAQ flips green as the Dow goes red. We've got more things in the green now. Tesla slightly recovering in here. Kind of a washing machine morning happening over here in the stock market. But the big one to watch over there is the DXY moving this morning. I don't think there's really a whole lot of info to draw from the DXY unless if it took out 104.72. It took out 104.72. Then I think you have like this strong case to say the dollar has bottomed. Like you have a strong case for it. But currently at the first resistance level, now we wait to see, does it have the strength to break one resistance? If it breaks one resistance and you say, oh, okay, breaks two, all right, pretty good case. But we'll see if this is kind of a climatic ending as it gets back to the first resistance level happening in here, its most recent high. But that's a pretty strong recovery happening there for the dollar. There you go. Last week there, you could see over here with the Dow, at least the E-mini Dow futures, there was a back test on top of the retracement level, still holding this week. We'll see if we can get ourselves a turn up this week. Otherwise, it's still just waiting. It's just waiting over here in crypto. But like I mentioned, I have recorded a video, and I think we're at the cusp of a dynamic shift happening in the market. And I posted about this over there on Twitter this weekend. It's always interesting that the data sets that actually have the most value tend to get the least amount of engagement. But what's funny is I posted about it over there on Twitter. It had the most views out of anything that I've posted over there on Twitter in a long time. When it comes, oh, maybe not. Let's see. Yes, it did. 132,000 views with 774 likes. 774, I get it. That's a huge number. But for the view count, relatively low. And so what you see there's a lot of people who are probably buying into specific narratives and stuff. But we're gonna talk about stuff. If you want to have your mind blown on data today, keep an eye out for the video that I'll be putting out later. And that's what I'm going to continue working on. So as we start today, let's see if there's any type of news to really go on. Miami, Austin, or Denver, where would your paycheck go further? I'm going to guess Denver. That's going to be my guess. China finance giants missed payments, alarm regulators. Okay. Argentina dollar bonds fall after populist election upset. Hedge funds prepare for legal battle with the SEC over fee disclosures. The Fed is playing a waiting game to try to avoid a recession. Okay, see, there's really no news. That's what I meant, right? This is what we're getting. This is our news today. Hey, let's do a poll. Where do you think you can get your money to go further? Looking over here, stock futures rise slightly after a sluggish start to August. This seemed outdated. The markets were already trending down a little bit. There you go. They slip. All right. Russia ruble slumps. Because the dollar is cranking this morning. U.S. Steel rejects a $7.3 billion offer from rival Cleveland Cliffs. Consider alternatives. Looking over here. FTX's Sam Bankman-Fried is sent to jail ahead of trial. MakerDAO founder on AI and governance. It's interesting to add those two into the same article. But yep, SBF is sitting in jail awaiting his trial date, I believe, to start in October. He got his bond revoked. This was it, right? Sam Bankman-Fried could go back to jail thanks to his big fat mouth. Which was posted over there on the 11th, which he did end up going back to jail. PayPal's stablecoin is no Libra. Why the timing feels right. Is Coinbase disillusioned with crypto? How crypto tokenization can wrong. So these are all like opinion pieces right here. Oh, it even says that. How about that? Bitcoin slumbers as ETF hopes simmer. Pepe leads altcoin gains. I saw something posted over there on Twitter or over on X throughout the weekend that former SEC head says a Bitcoin ETF will not be approved. Remember, we're sticking with that idea over here on this channel. We're not hyping Bitcoin ETFs in any way on this channel. I'm very surprised all the people who claim to be experts in this field, who have been around here as they claim for as long as they have, who are really hyping up ETF, who have unquestionably been through this ETF carrot dangle before. We've been through it many, many times. It is very funny to see how many people will comment on my stuff and tell me I'm wrong because a Bitcoin ETF is coming. Anybody here in 2018, 2019, and 2020 has been through this rodeo tremendously. So just keep that in mind. If your entire thesis of Bitcoin go to moon is Bitcoin ETF, one, we've had this happen many, many times, and it has never happened. You think we're close right now? We have tasted being that close before. And two, anytime something like that happens and something like that does go live, it marks the top. It's not the beginning, it's the top. So if it does happen, maybe I don't know how long the delay is between an ETF approval and between when it goes live. I think in 2017 we had the approval, and then it was a month or two later that the futures went live. I'm just not rehearsed enough to know what the delay is there on an approval and when it would actually go live. If it's near instant, boom, run for I'm going to run for the hills. While retail will FOMO. I know all those moments have always marked the peak in the end. But if there is a delay, if it's okay, well, it'll be released in 2 months from right now. Okay, that's cool. Then there could be a run up in anticipation of it. But still, the day of it being released or the week prior to it being released, it's all right, that's it, run. It's going to get dumped on retail. So just keep that in mind. And I know that's hard. We all try to read the news and try to anticipate what will come next. We say to ourselves, hey, if an ETF comes out, that means a bunch of people are going to be buying the Bitcoin ETF. Once it's available, they can put it in their 401ks. They can put it in their brokerage accounts, right? That's going to be so bullish when all those people pile in and buy that ETF later. But what happens is that actually gets priced in prior. So the price will run up prior to that moment, and all of that will get priced in. And then that's when all the dumping will occur. It'll be sold onto those people that are buying into their brokerage accounts and buying into their 401ks and whatnot. So keep that in mind. And that's the difficult part about markets, is having to think about it in that light, right? We try to read it but you have to kind of read it with a not necessarily a tinfoil hat, but reading it with being 2 steps ahead. All right, PayPal to roll out cryptocurrencies hub for select users. Bitcoin price breakout by the end of August. 5 things to know in Bitcoin this week. Grail's lucky dip of famous NFT artists. Okay. Dear crypto writers, no one wants to read your chat GPT generated trash. Dang. SEC decision on Bitcoin ETFs won't leave out Wall Street giants. Okay. So but I think, when you look back on it, like when you look back to 2018, 2019, 2020, the ETF hopes were kind of like the thing that kind of kept people going. There's enough to just kind of keep you holding on long enough to make it to the promised land, was the carrot dangle of the ETF. Then before you knew it, everything was taken off and no ETF had ever happened. But okay, that's where we're at today, guys. We're starting off the morning with 29,300. No change in Bitcoin over the course of the last 3 weeks. Still just ranging in here. We're sitting in the dead middle of that range, right? Let's see. We're sitting at the 50% of the range that we've been in for 3 weeks at 29.3 over here for Bitcoin, waiting for a move to emerge. XRP pulling back, getting close to the support levels. I don't know if it's quite there, but getting close to the support levels. Meanwhile, XRP BTC getting very close to that 200-week moving average. So I have already moved a small amount of my Bitcoin over there into XRP. I posted about that. Now, when I made in 2021, I sold 65% of my Bitcoin as my plan was, my exit plan was. And 35% of it's just hold on, ride or die. That stuff is still just ride or die. And it'll sit there and doing whatever, waiting until either Bitcoin crumbles down into oblivion or Bitcoin goes soaring off into outer space. That's just going to be, long term, whatever it is. But during the FTX collapse, I scooped up Bitcoin. So I bought Bitcoin, held it, rode it up. That Bitcoin is starting to now shift over in here. So that was kind of a trade that I took, scooping up some Bitcoin down there in the FTX collapse. Now I'm starting to shift that stuff back over here. But that 35% from back in the day that held holding either until Doomtown or until Moontown, that won't be touched at this time. So, all right, that's where we're at, guys. That's where we're starting the morning. The big thing out there has been the move with the DXY. It's getting back to its first resistance. So this was the resistance of where we really started crumbling from a couple of weeks ago, more than a couple of weeks ago, about a month and a half ago. So now we'll see how the DXY reacts right here. Is it having kind of a parabolic attempt to stab at it? We'll find out here in the coming days. So this will be kind of the pretty interesting moment to watch over here for the DXY. Metals are definitely taking a beating with that happening, but it looks like the stock market is starting to do a little bit of a recovery. That the NASDAQ really has turned its way around. The NASDAQ was kind of the one hurting the most this morning, really has turned around this morning. Now the Dow Jones, which was the one that was up when we saw the market open, has now flipped itself over and now is the most red out of them all, while the S&P is still starting to slightly grind its way back to getting near positive. So there you go to start out the day over there. A mixed day over here in Wall Street. Crypto slightly up today, mostly green day. We've got some API issues happening over here on TradingView, where you got the altcoin market caps all sitting up here with huge numbers. You have others up 23%, total 3 up 5%, total 2 up 3%. That's just an API issue over there at TradingView. The altcoin market is not up 23% today. There's no conspiracy to that, guys. There's no hidden thing happening in here where the puppet masters are accidentally showing their cards. It's just an API. We see this happen with it's been It's pretty aggressive for others, 23%. But I've talked with other people. We keep seeing that thing fluctuate 6% up and 6% down for no reason whatsoever. Today, they're clearly having some issue over there at TradingView. But for the most part, the market is green today, and that's a nice thing to have to start a day out, especially when it's so wishy-washy over there on Wall Street. So keep your eye out for a video I'm putting out today. That's where really a lot of my effort is going to today. I'm going to try to drop some serious alpha in the video that I am posting today to give a more bigger, broader perspective of just the whole crypto market and where we're at right now and how I think it's a pretty pivotal moment. And I'm pretty excited for it. So keep your eyes out for that today. Otherwise, let's go ahead and jump into the chat. That's your story today. Crypto, Bitcoin, 3 weeks in the range. That's how we're starting out the week. Nothing has happened here with price action today to start the week out. A lot of the crypto market is in the green. However, it's very slight green today. Totally mixed day over there in Wall Street on the stock market. The bigger thing happening in the stock market is that the US dollar currency index is up quite a bit this morning, and we're seeing precious metals really pull back this morning. So will there be a breakout that happens in the DXY? That's the thing to watch for. Will that be a breakdown in the precious metals? The thing to watch for. Otherwise, crypto, nothing dramatic in here. Really just totally tame volatility happening. So welcome to your new week. All right, guys, let's jump into the chat. Oscar Hernandez, first out the gate. How's it going, Super Sticker? Thank you very much, Oscar, for being here every day, brother. Zerp Twerp, hit the like button. That's right. We have 1,900 people in here. If you could, please hit the like button. It's the number one way to support my channel. Oscar again with the super sticker. Thank you very much, brother. Pat, morning BCB. Thanks for your wisdom. Hit the like button, everybody. Thank you, Pat. Andy Philpott, 5 BCB memberships. Thank you, brother. We got to get a members only live stream going this week. All right, I'll pick a day. I'll figure out a day this week that we can do it, and I'll let you guys know. JB Heavy Equipment Services. It says there's 20 new ones, but they're not showing up in here. Who did it? I can see Pat did. Pat dropped a tenner. Pat, thank you, man. I could see Andy did a 5, but there's another 5 and I'm missing it. Can somebody tell me who did that? JB Heavy Equipment Services says, hey, since the $50 XRP on Gemini, I've been calling it a marketing stunt. They got a lot of publicity for that. I wouldn't be surprised if it was planned. Again, that's super speculation. What is most likely is a new asset, not enough in the order book when it went live. That's the most likely thing. Jake says, hey, BCB, are you participating in the Evernode airdrop? Crypto Eddie just did an hour-long video, but airdrops kind of sketch me out. P.S. You are the man. I've gotten pretty tired of... first of all, I'm not telling you not to do it, okay? But I'll give my thoughts on it. I've seen this pop up in the last couple of days. I, for one, have gotten pretty tired of airdrops to the XRP community. You have to understand what an airdrop actually is. It is a way to get vested interest from a community in your project. That's why communities like Flare do it. That's why Sologenic does it. Because they give you free coins and they anticipate that a bunch of content and marketing will be done within that community to draw that community into your project. So not only will they get the free airdrop, but a lot of content will get created about it because the community is excited to get free coins. This vested interest will cause that community to not only get the free coins, but also to purchase more. What we watched happen with Flare was totally the slimiest thing ever. They spent 2 years totally letting the XRP community market them up and then rug pulled the XRP community in regards to giving their airdrop. And I get it. There's a big mixed opinion on that. If you weren't here the whole 2 years, if you were a newbie and you didn't get the snapshot here, in your opinion, well, it was the right thing to do because if people who want to be part of the community, they should be the ones to hold it. It shouldn't be dumped. Listen, 3 years ago, there was a snapshot that was done. People held the coins through that, right? The price of XRP dropped 15% the second the snapshot was over. So they took a hit on their portfolio by participating in this this airdrop in this snapshot. So they paid the price for it. The people who held through that paid the price. They should have been given their coins. There shouldn't have been this drawn out, you have to hold it, and if you don't hold it, you lose everything. And the inflation for the next several years is going to be out of control. That's my thought. So really bad taste in my mouth with Flare and Songbird. And, we watched Sologenic do the same thing. By the time the tokens got dropped, they went to practically nothing. So, what I've run the math on these things. However much XRP you hold, you're essentially being given about 1% USD value of whatever that coin is. So if you're going to run out and drop $10,000 on XRP just so you can get the most of this snapshot to happen, you're going to end up with about $100 of whatever this coin is. It's what it's been. I don't know if that's going to be the case here, but that's what it's been. And what's possible is that there's going to be volatility through the actual snapshot. That the second the snapshot happens, you could see a spike down happen in XRP. So if you're going to try to time it perfectly and be the one that sells within a fraction of a second after the snapshot actually happens, you could lose that 1% just by not timing the snapshot sell perfectly. So I don't know what this new coin is. I don't know what this is, but no, I'm not. I'm done. I'm tired of snapshots on the XRP community. I'm tired of the marketing to the XRP community. I'm done. I'm done with them. Flare ruined it. Because Flare ran the biggest marketing campaign for years, delaying. Like how many videos did they get? Hundreds by XRP content creators, hundreds, maybe thousands, and then rug pulled. So, and I get it. It's not like a direct rug pull, but the people who held through the snapshot got screwed. And I'll always feel that way about Flare. So, Jake, my answer is no. But like I said at the beginning, obviously I have a bias because I'm tired of it. I've been here. I've watched multiples of these. They always go sideways. Like not sideways as in price action, like S goes sideways with all of these airdrops. So that's my thought on it. Oscar Hernandez. Give some likes to the alpha. Oscar, thank you, brother. Skeleton gifts 1 BCB membership. Thank you very much, Skeleton. Maud Barber says, hey, BCB, today I'm celebrating 1 year of being sober. Thank you for your unrecognized inspiration in that matter. Thank you, really. When, moon, now. Well, first of all, brother, congratulations, man. I know how that is, dude. You've probably been sitting there all year thinking to myself, I want to get to that one day. That's the big day. I'm going to get there. And you got it, dude. You got it, man. Now the next one. Now for the magic really to happen, right? Now you've kind of gotten through the whole habit breaking, all that stuff. Now next comes like the year where life changed, like a lot of things in your life really kind of change and just what your life is anymore. And growth and like a path, right? The first thing was like break your path. Now you've completely shattered that old path that you have. Now you get to really kind of lay the foundation to build the new path. So congratulations. Oscar Hernandez, what is an ETF? And would it be possible for an XRP ETF instead of Bitcoin since XRP already has clarity? I don't know if we're going to get an ETF for XRP. I don't know. It's so speculative. First of all, we don't have an ETF for any crypto, right? You would think Bitcoin would be the first ones, right? So I don't know if we're going to end up getting one. So, in ETF, it's going to be like managed by a company, right? They're going to hold on to, the Bitcoin, if in your question, they're going to hold on to the XRP. It gives you more of a direct investment, towards the actual spot price of what the asset actually is. We have stuff similar to that, right? Like you have short ETFs, you have long ETFs. Which ones do we have in here? I think we have BTI. This is the short. And then you have BTO. Right? So it's like, you can kind of still invest in ETFs. Does this look like Bitcoin? Yeah. Right? You can go buy this. BITO. Right? Did this change the world when this was listed? No. What did it do? I don't like this new layout that they've done here. Here it is. It's under here. Look at this. When this came out, ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF, right? Does it look like Bitcoin? Sure does. Is it back near the same price levels? Very similar. It marked the top when it came out, right? When BTI came out, ProShares short, what did it mark? Right? This is short Bitcoin. What did it mark? It marked the bottom, right? So I think there's a lot of emphasis on that. An ETF's going to change the world. Look what happened when this one was listed. It marked the literal top. So it's like the market knows, or the players in it know, to get their things approved at very pivotal time periods. So I'm not convinced of it. And even if so, even you would think if an ETF is going to get approved for XRP, there's probably got to be some stipulations on Ripple, right? So I think we're just too far away to even consider ETF. And I just don't care about ETFs, guys. I just don't care. That's not what I'm here. I just don't care. It's this big narrative that we always think is so important for crypto, but it's never mattered before. And every single time these things do happen, they mark the end. They mark game over. Hever Colander. Hey, BCB, what makes you so bullish on XRP specifically? Why do you like it so much? By the way, I'm thinking of investing in XRP and just want reasons to do so. Well, you don't buy it because I like it, right? So when I got it, first of all, one, there has to be strong community and strong interest in it. I think we've always seen that. Secondly, when I got into it originally, I got into it... it's kind of a long story, but I don't know. I think people probably want to hear it long. I'll try to keep it in 3 minutes. When I got into crypto, I was already interested in metals. I already believed that the dollar was being devalued. I also ran a pretty large business. I was doing 7 figures revenue a year, one-man operation, and I was in several mastermind groups and stuff, and people were talking about Bitcoin in there. And just like everybody else throughout your life, you've had those periods where you don't pay attention to it. I definitely heard about Bitcoin in 2011 when my dingus coworkers were telling me, "Hey, we should mine Bitcoins in your computer, dude. I can come over and help you set it up to where your computer is mining these Bitcoins." I'm like, "What is Bitcoin?" They're like 25 cents. And you can use your graphics card and run a program and it'll mine them for you. I'm like, that is dumb. No, no. That was 2011. And, and then, move on years later and stuff. And, you hear about it again and you still ignore it as stupid. And then, come 2017, people in my circle of business owners were talking about it again. I'm like, and they're talking about buying it. I'm like, these aren't your dinguses, right? These are your guys who have money. And I'm like, okay, why are we talking about it again? Like, okay, now it's on my radar that you guys were talking about it. And then my brother-in-law tells me he's mining Ethereum. And that was like my breaking point. It was when my brother-in-law told me he was mining Ethereum, which was in the spring of 2017. And so then I got into crypto, like created a Coinbase account like everybody does. And, the three assets that were available on there were Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Those were the only three assets that were available on Coinbase. And I bought some Litecoin and I bought some Bitcoin. And I didn't really understand Ethereum at all. And I didn't really understand any of it, right? Who does when you start? I have no clue. Even to this day, some of it's way over my head. But then I started looking further down the rabbit hole because then I was looking around on TradingView and stuff. And there were obviously a whole lot more assets. And I, discovered CoinMarketCap and saw that there was XRP, this thing that was even higher on the list. And I started looking into that. And I was a guy who was always doing wire transfers. And so not only did I like the idea of crypto because, well, obviously price go up, but also had a huge problem with money printing already. So I bought into that narrative, like the money printing and inflation and all that stuff, like that already resonated with me very strong. But then but with my business, I was having to do a lot of wire transfers, having to send money over around the world. And the way that we send wire transfers currently, the way you do business internationally right now is with wire transfers. And it's just absolutely ludicrous. You walk into your bank, you fill out a piece of paper, you've got the account numbers, you got the beneficiaries' names, their addresses. And in the United States, addresses are pretty simple. You got like your street address, city and state and zip code, and that's it. But when you are doing other countries in like Asia, it's not just city, state, right? What is your city and your state? There's like districts, and then there's like providences. And like for us, we think of just city and state, but imagine it going even deeper than that. Imagine it being like district, providence, city, state. Like that's how deep it would go, right? And of course, the spelling is very different from here in the United States. And when you're filling out these beneficiary forms, the names are long, the addresses are very long. Where do you use the commas? Where do you not use the commas? And in the end, if something is wrong and it doesn't get to the other side of the world, you're kind of stuck in this limbo thing. There's no like tracking that can be done on a wire transfer. And I was sending every month, 5 figures all the time through these wire transfers. And the only way I was getting any type of answer on the other side is if I got an email from them telling me they got it. My bank would not give me any notification of whether or not they got it. Their bank, nothing. No, just this trust system. And I said there has to be a different way. And it seemed like that was something that was happening. With XRP, that was the type of thing they were fighting. In addition, looking at the top assets in the market, the thing that made sense to me is like if we're ever going to use any of this stuff for payments or sending money, in 2017, and still to this day, the processing time on these things is just insane. Bitcoin back then, I mean, you could take 6 hours, could take 12 hours. It's not the case right now unless it's a time of extreme network congestion, but still 15, 30 minutes to get a Bitcoin transaction to go through. Ethereum's a little bit faster, but that's not realistic for real life. That's not going to compete with real life right now, and the fees for it are not going to work real life as like a payment in any way. It has to be nearly instant, and it has to be nearly free. And those things were there for XRP. It's nearly free to send it. The cost is way less than 1 cent. And if you haven't sent XRP, rather than just like investing in it, go play with it for a second. Go set up a wallet, go, get $10 of it. Try sending some Bitcoin around, and then go try sending some XRP around. And you're going to be like sitting there and you're going to watch how long it takes for your Bitcoin to get somewhere. And then you're going to, if you have like 2 phones, and if you just send the XRP from one phone to the other phone, then back to the other phone, you can watch. You can just send it back and forth, in seconds, going back and forth, unlike what you could do with like Bitcoin or with Ethereum, where there's like a really big delay. So it seemed like a strong competitive. It seemed like they're going to be a really good competitor. Then again, at the same time, of course, always being in that top 5, really hovering in that top 3 and giving Ethereum a really big run for its money. So speed was always a really big thing for me. Nearly instant price or transaction cost, nearly instant. And then community and development, right? So of course, they're still trying to, whether or not NFTs blow up to be something big or not, still fighting to be on there. Now also being the only digital asset with regulatory clarity. And, you know, the thing is, when you have a community of this size, you're likely going to see development. I would actually beg to argue the XRP community is bigger than the Bitcoin community. And I know that sounds crazy, but I would beg it to be true. So there's a voice there, right? There's the marketing there, the digital footprint of social awareness there as well. So I think there's got that going for it too. We've watched stuff that doesn't have a community behind it, struggle. So it's got a community, fast transaction speeds, low cost, development to compete in the same niches that the rest of the cryptocurrency market is with smart contracts, getting there, slowly behind, but getting there. And the only one with regulatory clarity, right? So we'll see if that regulatory clarity thing is the big one, right? So, that's up to you, man. Don't go buying it because I love it. It's just the one that I've chosen the most of, right? It was my number one holding through 2020, 2021, right? Didn't do the greatest, right? Fortunately, Cardano was my number 2, and it did, right? If you were to ask me which one I loved more, it was XRP all day, but just because I loved it more, it didn't matter, right? So do your research, play with it, and then, decide for yourself. I present all the charts, right? So you see the charts, we'll see if those things end up playing out. No guarantee they will, but they look good to me. Strong case for me. I can't build a strong case for Bitcoin, no matter what, man. And the people who have followed this channel since 2019, we had the vision for Bitcoin all of 2019, all of 2020, and all of 2021. That's the reason why I think some people stick around too, is that they watched all that happen. You got the new people who poured in at 2021. They came in during Wall Street bets and bought the top of the market with laser eyes and diamond hands. We're like, blockchain backer, you don't know nothing. But there's the whole group of people who were here from 2019 and 2020 where we literally drew out that that's how that would go for Bitcoin, that we would go on to that $70,000 price level, and that this was crash, retrace, reaccumulation, go for the big thing, that we'd have this 50% sell-off, right? And that we would then set a new all-time high. I can't draw out. I just can't do it. I can't draw out some new bull run happening for Bitcoin. I don't have the vision for it. As we've had historically. I don't have the vision for it. But I do have it for XRP. So, as an analyst, as a technical analyst, right? Amateur technical analyst, I look at that too. And that's important to me because magical unicorns and fairy dust, man. So you do you. JJ Jacob, your Bitcoin drawing doesn't even hit 43K. No 61.8 retrace. Okay. Dude, I stirred Twitter today, man, or this weekend. Jeez, man. It goes to show people only listen to what they want. This has been brought up on this channel at least a dozen times. Just keep an eye out for it, man. Keep an eye out for it. The thing I said about the 10 to 12Kers is that what the 10 to 12Kers were is that they were bulls on the market, but they sold low to buy lower to be even more bullish. But I didn't think that they had the right view on the market. This is the thing to be cautious of here, right? In all retraces, there's going to be caution heading back up in here. But we've talked about this since 2021, that this needs to be something to just be mindful of in here and where that would take place at. Oh my gosh, I just don't like this new setup that TradingView has done, right? Where this happens in here. I'm going to search for it tomorrow. I'm going to search for it tomorrow because we're going to make a video talking about this. Because boy, this just infuriates people. And that's not my fault that you get infuriated or worried about it. And I'm not talking about you in particular, JJ. But it infuriates people to bring this up. Why? Because they wanted 100K at the top. Because they wanted 10 to 12K at the bottom. And then they bought back in right there. Right? What did we have this whole time? People were screaming that we were still going to go back down. People didn't capitulate on it until they heard Bitcoin to $1 million in 90 days. So they all bought back in right here. The price is still exactly where they all finally bought back in. And so the idea that if it just pops up a little bit or rolls over and heads down to 2K, they got the third time in a row, they've bought the wrong time. So that's why people get emotional about it. But this is something we've talked about all for the last 2.5, 3 years to keep an eye out for this. So we'll talk more about this tomorrow. But be mindful of it. This shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Yeah, unless if people pick and choose or watch one video every 20 days or something like that, maybe you've missed it. But this is unquestionably been talked about over the years. Crash, retrace, reaccumulation, 4.236 extension. Where does it pull back to? Crash, retrace, reaccumulation, 4.236 extension. Where does it pull back to? And then this is the end of it, right? And if this is the case, if the Dow Jones Industrial Average is set to go on Doomtown mission, right? Right? Where's the Dow? Like that's the problem too. People just listen to every content creation they can hear that's going to feed them the bull narrative that they have to hear. That this has been Bitcoin. Here's Bitcoin's existence here to here. What happens with that? What happens if that occurs with the Dow Jones Industrial Average? Do you think Bitcoin just keeps going? It just goes into Moontown regardless? I've compared it all 1,000 times. And if people choose not to listen to that they're just putting their fingers on their ears. We should be mindful of this, and that it's there. Of course, cheering for a 702 retracement. That's where what did we look at here? Let's do this. Because we got this right here, right? What were we saying was happening in here is that there was a lack of a fixed volume profile range, right? Indicators, profiles, fixed volume profile range here to here. This was even worse back then, but this was the major area where there was like literally no volume in here. It's still even one of the weaker volumes happening in here, but we also have that right there. So here's your volume profile. That's your weakest volume profile out of everywhere up here, right? Holy guacamole. Okay. But I've marked it. There it is. Okay. There we go. It's marked. Right on the money. Right? 702. Right on the money. So there's still arguments to say it can go up higher, right? I'm not calling it. And I didn't call it in my tweet, and I didn't call it when I brought it up in a video last week. But this is definitely something we've talked about many, many times. And if people aren't looking for it, if they capitulated back in because Bitcoin was going to $1 million in 90 days, and they're upset with that they sold the bottom, they bought the top, they sold the bottom, then they bought near the top again, that's not my problem. So be mindful of this. If we get one more push up to the upside, we'll be watching for this. Here's, like, you can clearly see too, here's, an idea, right? If we say, let's say we see break up, gets to 38K, and then price pulls back down like that, that's it, man. That tells you the story. That's it. Done, right? So, we can just keep eyes on it like that. But we're not going to go into it and get surprised by it, right? One of the scenarios that we drew up from 2021 was this. This was also the reason why the top was called, guys. So for people who don't understand like why the top was called, and they were like, but the magic rainbow models and fib-based Fibonacci, log-based Fibonacci's told me we should have gone way higher. Why was the top called where it was? It's because this is what happens. This is why it was a full extension of a crash, retrace, reaccumulation. We had reached full extension. Now we have pulled all the way back down, exactly as we did. Exactly. And so this particular moment in time that we're in right now is equivalent to that. So keeping an eye on the next move is something to watch for. And what have we talked about a lot when it comes to Bitcoin and the emotional state of where we're at right now? It's that we're right underneath the fear level. 32,000 is where all fear disappears, right? This is the place where finally the emotions are allowed to be free and allowed to be excited. So everybody's still worried here, underneath here, but they lose that above that line. And so we'll see if the final bears capitulate, and if they do, then there you go. Now, for fun on Twitter, I like to conduct polls, and man, dude, polls piss people off so bad. I don't know why. Just the mere act of doing it causes so many comments and so many angry people when the poll gets done. But I've conducted several polls over the course of the last couple of years, and sometimes we catch pivotal moments where the market is completely wrong-footed. Of course, the most famous one is right up there, where on this channel I was screaming, "We're not going to 100K," right? But it didn't matter that was my view. The market still believed we were. Where even though I conducted the poll, 2/3 of participants thought we were going to be going to $100,000, no matter how big of an argument I presented that we were not going to. By the time we had fallen down to here, finally, 2/3 of the market did believe that we were going to be going down, that we were going to be going to 20K. When we got down here, I conducted the poll again, and I asked, what comes next, 12K or 40K? And once again, 2/3 of participants say that we are going to 12K. Even though on this channel, 12K, where is it? Way down here. Again, on this channel, I'm screaming, we're not going to 12K. It doesn't matter if the market makes its decision, and participants are totally captured in the idea that we're going to 12K. Everybody's on the same page. Market reverses. So we see them get wrong-footed at the same positions. But what we already see currently right now is right here, once again, 70% of participants believe we're going to 40K, whereas only 30% believe that we're going to 12K. So that was the question that was phrased down here. What comes next? 40K or 12K? 2/3 say 12K. Now we get here. What comes next? Same question. 40K or 12K? And now 70% of people believe 40K. Now, of course, our minds tell us immediately, oh no, that's bad. That means that we're not going to be going up. That means we're going to crash and crumble because the market always gets it wrong. Well, the thing to keep in mind is they didn't get it wrong here, right? They had it wrong here. They had it wrong here at the pivotal moments, but they didn't have it wrong here, right? It was correct. It did end up continuing to go down. So it doesn't necessarily mean that. But what it also does show is that sentiment is trying to shift. Sentiment is trying to become bullish. And look, you can look out there on the market. Do you see euphoria? No, I don't see euphoria. That's the thing to be petrified of, is euphoria. unrelentless confidence. People who are like talking about how great they are and how they're doing so well. That's the time to be freaking out. When people think they're geniuses and when people are showboating their gains, that is the absolute devastating time to be worried. I don't see that right now. But what we definitely don't have anymore is the 10 to 12K crew. That whole group of people who are all in that same boat. They were still here at this time, but they left here. I think they abandoned ship here. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with all this. But there you go. Oh, you said your Bitcoin drawing doesn't even hit the 43K 618 retracement. Right. Because it's that scenario that we've talked about with Ethereum. Right. I'm not saying it's going to, man. But this is something we've talked about for a long time. Be mindful of it. Don't be surprised by it. Right? Because here's the deal. No one expects that. No one. No one thinks that's the case for Bitcoin. Why? 4-year cycles. Nothing matters but 4-year cycles. I can tell you, after being here for this many years, I have a very, very difficult time seeing the narrative and the path forward for Bitcoin anymore. It is not what it once used to be. It used to be the FU money. It used to be the check out of the system. Now it's the Michael Saylor owns 200,000 Bitcoins or something. You know, now it's we need ETFs. Now it's countries have to have it on their balance sheet. This is not the same thing it once was. And it's all dependent on these government stuff, right? That's not what Bitcoin once was. How is that checking out of the system? I don't get it. Peer-to-peer cash, totally trackable by the government. I'm having a very, very hard time. And I think if we take off our blinders of price go up, I have a real hard time seeing it for Bitcoin moving forward. So it's why I'm not like the chart for one doesn't scream it to me. And at the same time, I don't see it. Yeah, I'm on a rant. I'm on a rant. All right, we're moving on. I answered that with a lot. You got 10 minutes of an answer on that. McMuffin TA, please. Oscar Hernandez. Thank you, brother. Jake Majuk. Thanks, BCB. That's why you're the man. Frog, frog, frog. Thank you, brother. George Alexander Rapoulis. Can you show your crashing structure count on XRP? Is it invalid if your wave 4 is above wave 1? No, it's not invalid if it goes above, but we'll take a quick peek at it. It has been a little bit of a challenge on it. But let's take a look here. Where is you, XRP? All right, so essentially 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're just not gonna. Okay, and this is where it gets hard, right? Because there's something else you can see in here. You definitely see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you see the roll back up to 4, and then you see the new low. So was that it right there? And it might have been. It might have been. Which is why, like, I'm like, I think we could go down one more time, but I also think we might not because you see it there. You see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There it is, right? Was that it? It might have been it, man. If not, then would it be like morphed of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Right? And it rolled up higher. Then we're good. I think it could be either one, which is why I'm slowly stabbing already, right? So I'm having to use DCA method rather than doing all-in method. But yeah, you could see the complications of it because you could see it right there, right? I mean, I know you do. If you're understanding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you see it. Was that it? It might have been. Mets Media. Oh wait, hold on. I missed. But thank you, George. I'm pretty sure that answered your question, brother. Oscar Hernandez says, hit the like for free digital McBaker well done breakfast. Thank you, Oscar. Pat gifts 5 again. Thank you, bro. Mets Media. Hey, BCB, been here a little before the SEC lawsuit. For the E-Wave and XRP, I understand it could take off relatively soon or enter into another contracting triangle. In your opinion, is that over a month? Well, the rule is in Wave E, the rule isn't contracting triangle, right? We can read the rules on it, and it says that Wave E typically will not be a standard ABC correction. It will typically be another horizontal triangle. So horizontal triangles can be ascending, descending, contracting. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be contracting. It could be ascending. So it could even go all the way back up to the top, to the height, and then pull back down again, right? Like, right? As for guessing time, if it is going to do that, you would probably think over a month. But again, time guess, my guess is as good as yours, but you would think a month at least. If it does continue a horizontal triangle for Wave E. Thank you, Mets. Holy Schnikes says, if the Fed can't get inflation to 2%, do you think recession will finish the job? Seems like they raised rates to have bullets in the chamber for when the market crashes. Thoughts? Love what you do. 100% agree. Holy Schnikes. I don't think the Fed raising rates has anything to do with battling inflation. I don't think it has anything to do with anything that they're talking about. I think it has everything to do with that. That we could not head into the actual bubble pop without ammunition. And guess what? We have ammo now, right? So I think that's it. I don't think it has anything to do with really getting to 2%. It's just what can they get away with without being the cause of the pop. I don't think they'll be the cause of the pop. It's usually going to be some type of narrative that ends up coming that becomes the cause, and nobody could have seen it coming. It's like, well, all the economic data pointed to it, but still, like, a mouse escaped from a zoo and like it was carrying a bug on it, right? Like it'll be something like that. No government's to blame. But fortunately, our trusted government will have ammunition in the chamber for us. Thank you. Yeah, holy shnikes, I'm right there with you, brother. Remember, why would they cut rates if it isn't a recession? If the stock market is, why would we cut rates if we aren't already tanking? Everybody's like, it's going to be so bullish when they cut rates. Why are they going to cut rates in a rising stock market? They're going to cut rates if things hit in the fan. Right there with you, dude. Pepper Collender. Thanks, BCB. Was the issue with the SEC the only thing stopping XRP from doing better the last bull run, or are there other reasons it didn't do much? Well, we don't have any evidence to prove one way or another. What we do know is that there was a dynamic shift in 2021 that was different from past bull runs, right? I've gone through this data many times that if you look at the top 10 of the cryptocurrency market, like if you had accumulated the top 10 in 2015 and 16 to go into the 2017 bull run, just in the first leg up by accumulating the top 10, 9 out of your 10 would like go over 70x. In 2020 into the 2021 bull run, we had a different dynamic, which if you accumulated the top 10 only 2 out of 10 had big runs, and that would be Ethereum and Binance Coin. People sit there and say, "Oh no, Bitcoin was incredible. Bitcoin was amazing." Was it really though? Like, right? Like, say you bought here, right? You bought here, right? Let's say you sold here, which most didn't, because I was selling here in public about it over there on Twitter, that I was an idiot for doing it. But let's pretend that you did. That was the ride that you did for Bitcoin. What was the percentage gain there? 369%. That's not that big. That's not that big. We're talking about in 2015 where things like, and I did this whole case study on it in here on bcbacker.com. Reviewing altcoin seasons right here, 41 minutes and 59 seconds. And we go through the top 30 of the altcoin market with a case study of pretending that we had bought the market right here and that we had sold the market right here. That's the case study that we did. And then we ran the case study in that video of as if we had done the exact same thing in 2015 and how you would have performed in the market with those. And it was a totally different market dynamic shift that happened in 2021, where in the top 10, only 2 out of 10 provided significant returns, which was Ethereum and BNB. Move on to the top 20. So let's do ranks number 11 through 20. I believe you had Cardano and Chainlink, right? Move on to ranks number 21 through 30. You only had VeChain and Dogecoin. And Dogecoin was ranked like number 27. So how far down the list you had to go, right? But otherwise, ranks number 1 through 30, not much, right? And like not even half went into new all-time highs. Now, is that a causation of the SEC suing and then it becomes this big problem? Don't know. Right, we can look at the timing of when the attack happened, and we can look what happened to the price of XRP when they attacked. Right, there it is. Right, what was happening here with the market? The whole market goes off and breaks out into new all-time highs. At least Bitcoin does, and then the altcoin market follows behind it. Right, so we can overlay total too. Right, this is the literal moment the market goes. Right, so this is when the SEC sues. So can you blame it? The timing of the chart says it. Would it still have not gone into a new all-time high? It's an answer we can't, like with a scientific method, prove. Right, we just can't prove it one way or the other. And it would be unreasonable for me to give like a legit 100% certainty answer because I don't know. It's not the reality that we were dished out. We weren't dished out the reality where the SEC didn't sue XRP or didn't sue Ripple 5 days after Bitcoin broke out into its new all-time high after 1,000 plus day bear market. We don't have the reality where they didn't sue the day after the weekly candle closed in the all-time high and the whole altcoin market took off together. Our reality that we were dealt was the one where the SEC sued right at the break of the all-time high. And what would have happened the other way? I would have guessed we'd go into a new all-time high, but we don't know. Oscar Hernandez, where can one look to see developer data? Electric Capital. Oscar, you know this, bro. You're enrolled on bcbacker.com, bro. Sebastian Albors. If that situation plays out and Bitcoin turns over at retracements in kerplunks at any point, do you see a good opportunity to buy again below 10K or 5K? I saw Yassine post on that Twitter post or that x.com post. And he says, if that happened, I would buy so hard. The infamous words of people. And first of all, I love Yassine. I've met him in person. I've loved listening to him in spaces too. The infamous words of people when prices are high. If it goes down to that levels, I would buy it so hard. Says all the Bitcoiners who sold at 16K to buy 12, right? That's what happens, right? It doesn't happen that way. When prices are high and you're telling everybody, hey, we're going down, they're like, I would buy so hard if we got down there. No, you won't. No, you won't, bro. Hey, but you know what? We've had a little turnaround happen in the market this morning on a Monday morning. After just rambling all morning at an hour and 15 minutes, which I need to wrap this up pretty soon, guys. So, but here we go. We got some price action over here in crypto. We got Bitcoin up. It's now above 29.5. So there you go. Is that the highest price we've seen in 3 days? XRP. Still just range bound. How's the Dow? Range bound. Stock market. Look at that. Most of that's green. Look at that. All indexes are in the green now. You got the Dow up 8 points. Woohoo. Looks like you got the DXY down to 103.2. So there you go. A little bit of a pullback in the DXY as it's getting back to that big resistance level right there. That's the first big resistance to have to fight back through. Looks like gold and silver, a little bit of a bounce back up too. So we'll see how today goes. But there you go. The dollar did struggle there for a second as it got back to that first challenge right there. So there you go. But so here's what you guys have to remember. For everybody who's got themselves all stressed out on this. One, you haven't been listening all year long because we brought this up many times. This is your Great Depression scenario, guys, right? If you haven't been thinking about what's going to happen to Bitcoin in the event of this is the end of the stock market bubble, what did you think was going to happen with Bitcoin? Did you think Bitcoin would just stay flat during a Great Depression for the stock market? Right? And I'm not trying to be a jerk here. I'm just trying to get people aren't thinking like that. What would happen with Bitcoin if this is the pop of the stock market? And I've had this channel for almost 4 years now. I've been through C19. I was the jerk nobody liked because the most popular thing to do was to be rich dad, poor dad, scream that the sky was falling. Many accounts, that's what their whole model was on. Instill fear, instill fear, instill fear. Over here, I was bull. I was saying we're going. What is this? Everybody hated me. It's the double tap, bull flag, breakout, violent back test, V bottom, right? Bull, 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 bull. While there's 25% unemployment, stimmy checks, right? Mortgage forbearance. People are worried that their health is going to be ruined, right? But I was over here being massive bull. But it's the same stuff. Like with Bitcoin, it's the same stuff. You know, we're getting up now to near retracement levels and to places to be worried about. What happened during here? What was I saying? Bounce back, go to retracement levels. Now we're getting through retracement levels, right? So that's good. But still, where to worry from here? What was everybody saying? Don't fight the Fed. Don't fight the Fed. This is just the beginning of the great financial crisis. How many times did you see this? No, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. How many times did you see this? Right? Everybody's on board with it. Everybody's okay with it, right? Yeah, we're doomed. We're doomed. Yeah. Well, now people are capitulating back in the other direction. Sorry, hit the mic. They're capitulating back in the other direction of being these big bulls. I said the whole time, this is not what we're doing. This is recency bias. This is a different environment. This is a range, right? So what happens with the range? The S&P, it's already gone on full 4.236 extension in here, but we haven't had it yet for the Dow, and we haven't had it yet for the NASDAQ. But what are your thoughts of what would happen to Bitcoin in the event that we hit 4.236 extensions, right? And I think that thought process for people is still block reward halving, 4-year magic. That's it. So if this occurs for Bitcoin, it's likely because we're at the end of an entire liquidity cycle in global markets. I've showed it over and over again. The correlation between Bitcoin and the stock market, right? If the stock market is turning over, the stock market is heading down, maybe the end of Bitcoin for quite some time. So it's always astonishing when you bring it up. The market would have maybe loved that idea down here, but not once Bitcoin to $1 million in 90 days happened and they came back in. Now they're not okay with it. But tomorrow we'll talk more deeply about that in an actual. That's not what we're talking about in today's video. Today we're talking about the positive signs of things in the market. But this whole thing needs to be addressed in an actual video. And I'm going to try to point to stuff we've talked about in the past, because this is not a new topic. I think people are just panicking now because maybe they're hearing it for the first time, and maybe they've forgotten about it, or they're really picky and choosy on when they decide to watch videos and they don't listen to that. We've brought this up many times. But I know I even have a thumbnail. I think there's even one that has a thumbnail. If anybody can reference it really quickly, or at least the title of it so I can find it. It even says like the $2, comma, XXX, right? Bitcoin to 2000 something. That's on the thumbnail. That's from a long time ago. Pretty sure from 2022. And even pointing to that if that was the case, all those 10 to 12Kers, they're wrong. They're wrong. You're not going to get it. At least not now. Yeah, Nicholas Basler says 10 years of Bitcoin trading data isn't very reliable to draw these conclusive outcomes. We're entering uncharted territory for the end of a credit-based system. So I'm not sure if you're sitting there saying we go absolutely complunky, moony, supermoon, or if you're saying something different. I'll leave all these on here because I like them. No, we'll use Dow Jones because I don't want to mess with that. Come on. No. How do I do this? Give it to me in log scale. Okay, we'll remove it. Dang it. I'm struggling on live with 1,900 people watching. Okay, whatever. That's what we're doing. It has only existed in a giant bull run. It has only existed in a giant bull run for the Dow. So, you know, will the Dow keep going? Right? That will be the thing. All right. We're an hour and a half into this. I've been rambling for way too long. I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping this up. Janice, isn't the others chart not performing properly? Yep, we've talked about this a couple of times already today. None of the altcoin market cap charts on TradingView are performing correctly today, which we've been seeing a lot of over the last month or so with others, 6% up and then 6% down for no reason. It just must be an API issue over there at TradingView. But thank you. Mills RG, notice the total market cap excluding Bitcoin has popped. Total market cap excluding Bitcoin has popped. No. See, guys, we've addressed this a couple times. Don't trust any of these altcoin market caps today. Don't trust any of them. Probably can't trust the Bitcoin dominance either today, too. Yeah, don't trust that today either. We are actually going to talk about this today, but still, we're going to talk about this today. Probably one of the most data-filled videos that I've put out in quite some time on a macro view today. But don't pay attention to Bitcoin dominance. Don't pay attention to others, total 3 or total 2 today, or probably even total. And then tomorrow, if these things don't correct themselves at some point today, tomorrow expect all of these to be massively in the red. Doesn't mean that the market's moving down. It just means that TradingView is going to have to correct it, and tomorrow those will all be down. So, all right. Let's take one more quick look at the market today before we get going. Bitcoin at 29.5. So we got most of the market in the green today. We got Bitcoin up. You got XRP above 63 cents. You got all the stock indexes are up now. Look at the NASDAQ up over 140 points this morning. Very nice move up there in the stock market to get the week going. DXY was strong this morning, but has since paused out now that the markets have really gotten opened up. So it's nice to see that calming down there. Metals were taking a pretty big dump this morning, but they're starting to kind of recover those falls that were happening in there. Otherwise, a pretty decent, okay start to the week. Nothing too traumatic. We just hit 1,000 likes here on the live stream, so let's go. I'm going to get back to working on my video today. We will have a video today. It might be a little bit of a longer one today, but I think it's going to be a really good one. So keep your eyes peeled for today for a video released. Otherwise, guys, you can check out over here on bcbacker.com. Today's video is going to give you kind of a taste of a lot of the stuff that you get in here. This is not just, here's how to make a bull flag and how to draw a trend line. There's a lot of alpha in here, and you'll kind of get a taste of that in today's video for sure. But you can check out bcbacker.com. This is over 40 videos, over 11 hours of content, deep diving in the crypto market and teaching you a lot about charts and what's going on and how all these things interact with each other in the market. Easy to understand. Let's make it simple. You can check that out there, bcbacker.com. Otherwise, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Cash Me Outside, my brother, gifted a BCB membership, and then Andy Philpott with the super sticker. Thank you very much. Guys, thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you all very soon. That's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream. Please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.